Last chance for the Steelers. Bradshaw trying to get away. And his pass is broken up by Tatum. Tipped off. Franco Harris has it. And he's over. What? Franco Harris grabbed the ball on a deflection. 5 seconds to go. He grabbed it with 5 seconds to go and scored.
Never in doubt.
Was your dad at that game?
My parents were at that game.
Okay, all right.
I was going to ask you, where were you? You're old enough.
I was 1, right? Yes, I was 1. That's fine. That's fine. Your mom and dad hooked up that night.
Yeah, I believe my brother was about a month away. So funny story about that. Myron Cope, the longtime broadcaster of the Steelers, analyst, missed it because he left the booth to go downstairs to set up for the post-game locker room interviews. He had no idea. I don't know where he was in the stadium. I've heard him, tell the story about how he missed it.
Right.
I don't know if he heard like the roar of the crowd. I don't know if he was in the locker room and like all the players come in like celebrating. I was like, what the hell, what the hell happened? Right. Of all the games and all the crazy plays I've seen, very few do I remember a play that I was never at or never saw. At live anyway.
And Adam, there was a long delay, like in the game after that happened, where the referees were conferring about whether to, like, if you ever go back and watch the original broadcast, there's a long delay before they finally say it's a touchdown kind of thing. Like they called touchdown originally, but then they go back and this is all pre-instant replay, but they still have conversations. And it takes forever before it's like, okay, yeah, it's a touchdown.
I believe the way John Madden tells it, I think it's Madden, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you've heard this, is that the referees got together and said something like, how many security guards can you give me if I don't call this a touchdown? And somebody said 6. And he's like, well, then it's 6 for Pittsburgh. It wasn't like, I think so many of these stories, I mean, I've heard it told on like the NFL films, but still like sometimes the myth outgrows the actual event of the story. I don't know if that's true or not. I just know that some NFL people have said that, or in one of those NFL film shows. I like that version the best, even though clearly it was totally legit.
Right.
You can't listen. We can talk about like Major League. It's too high, the trajectory. Like there's no way the ball bounces backwards if it doesn't hit Tatum. It just doesn't happen that way.
Gotta hit Tatum. Yeah. There's a funny scene when you see the referee go into the dugout, actually, like the literal dugout there at Three Rivers to take a phone call from upstairs and stuff. But that kind of stuff is what went on. But that was the start of the dynasty, right? That was the game. The Franco catch, the late Franco Harris now, but the Franco catch, without that, I'm not sure if the dynasty goes to where it goes.
Well, so that was already a playoff game.
Sure.
So they had already reached an elevated status for the first time. And then the next year they lost in the championship game to Miami, or maybe they lost to Miami or something the next year. It could have been the Raiders again.
Right.
And then the following year is when they started.
They won the first of 2 back-to-backs.
I was reminded by a guy you and I once knew who we worked with. He was a total pain in the ass, and a lot of people didn't like him. And then after he died, everyone's like, "Oh, that's too bad about Ed. Oh, that's awful." Oh, I said his name. His name was Ed.
Easy. There you go. Yes.
Rhymes with Ted.
Right.
And people were like, hey, Adam, aren't you? Isn't that awful? I'm like, I mean, he was still an asshole. I don't know. Well, like,
right. Yeah.
just because he's gone. Just because he's gone doesn't make him any less of kind of a schmuck when we knew him. I don't know.
Right.
So I say that only because in very recent history, in stories that are being told about Franco, that people quickly forgot. Now, this isn't to tarnish anything. I find the human emotion funny that he is now larger than life when not too long ago he was being criticized for backing Joe Pa
Right.
and
Sure.
being part of a investment group to buy the Penguins to move them out of town before Mario came in and saved the day.
I didn't hear that story. Yeah.
I reading all of the stories and the tweets and commemorating him and
Right.
and the humanitarian that he was. And yes, the iconic level of his off the field. I mean, he's clearly never left Western Pennsylvania in terms of just like where his heart is and all of the institutions that he supports, tugging on the heartstrings kind of thing. This is not a popular opinion. I just find it funny that people quickly forget about the things that he was criticized for not too long ago.
I've heard, yeah, you're right. I've heard nothing but like it's all positive. What you would expect when someone passes away, it's always positive. No one says, "Oh yeah," like what we do about EZ, but about Franco or other people, they're not going to say that. And it has been all like this, walk on water almost kind of thing. But even like people in the media, though, it's like I've heard a few people in the media, like prominent national media people, that don't have to say it, but have gone out of their way to say he was truly a great person, like a great guy. And you're right, the Joe Pa thing always rubbed me the wrong way, but I get it. The same way here in Columbus, where we're at right now, there are people who will stand by Woody. Not that Woody didn't close what Joe Pa did, so I'm not trying to say it, but I'm saying Woody absolutely, though. Woody Hayes for Ohio State absolutely had some asshole tendencies. And the things he did, the way some of the behaviors on the field and with officials and with his own players, I know it's not the same level, but you've got people that will defend him left and right. Even if he broke rules, even if he was an asshole sometimes, people will defend him. Same thing with Joe Pa and Penn State people, but
I'm sure the players deserved
it. Right, I'm sure they did too. But nonetheless, so we're here talking about Franco Harris, passes away right before they're going to retire his number in the Steelers-Raiders game.
So like I'm a coincidence person,
right?
But it's a lot of coincidences. Like 2 days before the 50th anniversary,
right.
3 days before they're going to retire his jersey, he's doing Instagram posts. He was helping Cam Hayward promote his snack mix, like his party mix, and he's posing like he caught it in a grocery aisle, like the Immaculate Reception, like just a few days ago. Sure. And he was like, look what I found. I still got it. Like he and Terry Bradshaw did a commercial, like a promo 6 days ago. And he's got like a Football Life episodes coming out this week.
Right.
This is maybe a bit of a stretch. The Immaculate Reception was in 1972. He was 72 years old when he died.
Right. Yep.
It's just some weird. And super sudden. Like, it's not like he had a history of health problems. It's not like he was, walking around with a cane or had like CTE.
It looks like he hasn't aged much. He looks a lot like he did when he played at the end of his career.
Yeah, you used to callously make fun of the Steelers lore about how they all like passed away earlier in their 50s.
I don't know if I made fun of it.
Yeah, steroid era.
Maybe, you're right. I did. Oh, you're right. It's quite fair. Yeah.
It's like I don't get. Another friend of mine, friend of ours, actually texted me and he said, "We don't know these people, but still really shocking, and kind of sad because of that persona and that, like you said, the larger in life personality he had. All the thing I said about the human nature, I fall into that trap too. I too was taken aback and like, oh man, like wow, really?
Right.
I mean, it's not shocking when people die when they have, because it happens all the time. But it's still. But you're right. Like for sports figures and musicians and actors and like for whatever and it's because they did something or that usually I find it meant something to you as when you were a kid or growing up.
We invested in them. We invested our time. We invested our feelings into them. You know what I mean? Like you and I, it's all kinds of time growing up, Adam. You could have done a variety of things on a given day. You went to Steelers games. You watched Steelers games. You know what I mean? Like you did that. You rooted for Steelers. You lived and died with the Steelers sometimes, even. So you were invested in them, and as a family too, with your father, your relationships in your life. Like that was Franco was a big part of that, even though you never knew him.
I think he was in uniform the very first game I went to. I remember it was 1983. I remember it was the Vikings. I remember they lost 17-16. I don't remember if Franco was in uniform.
Okay.
So, and then I remember like watching him, maybe a game or two on TV. Honestly, sure. I remember watching him playing the 1 year with Seattle, and he looked, like the shell of his old self. The guy that hung on for 1 year too long, kind of thing. Free agency wasn't really a big thing then, so that was like, what? Like he's going to play somewhere else, but
the pantheon of Steelers importance players in the 70s. Okay, I'm not talking the obviously, Rooney's up there, Knowles up there. That's fine. But when you start ranking the players, the importance of the players on those 70s teams, I guess Bradshaw and Joe Green come to mind first. But isn't Franco, maybe Webster, but isn't Franco right up there too then?
I'd put him 6th or 7th.
Okay, so you're going Bradshaw and Green in some order.
Now, if you're talking about that play,
right?
And obviously it was more than that play. He had 12,000 yards rushing. He's still 15th all time, which today is actually still pretty good considering, the level of athleticism that we see.
He played
today.
14 game seasons and shared carries with Blyer all the time.
Yeah, and they didn't have concussion protocols back then. I mean, they gave you they gave you smelling salts, and you're like, attaboy, get back out there and show them what you can do.
Yes. You had your bell rung. Go out there and make another carry.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I don't even think they called them stingers back then. Like when you felt a little pinch on your neck, like they just was like, bumps and bruises.
Right. It's part of the game.
Right. So, I mean, he played in a much more violent era. I mean, you remember they all had like the hand clubs with casts, like,
Mm-hmm. They did. Yes, they did.
And club each other.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So, in no particular order, I'll put Green up there because Green's one.
Right.
I would maintain if you're going to retire Franco's number, then you also have to do Bradshaw's number because that play. Not just from the play, but that play doesn't happen without some little, Eli Manning Super Bowl to Tyree heroics.
Scramble around a little bit,
Right.
Yep.
So Green, Bradshaw, I would put Ham and Lambert, and
Webster,
Blunt and Webster in that category. Now I'm not. I don't know where Franco falls in line there, but I don't necessarily. He's not an automatic. I mean, Ernie Stotner was the first one, but Harris isn't the automatic next player of choice that I would pick. I get that it makes sense. I get it's 50th anniversary. I get that play kind of catapulted them to stardom, all of them, that entire team. But it was so much more than that. I mean, like, there aren't enough jerseys to go around to retire. There wouldn't be enough, So,
but after Bradshaw,
I don't know who would be next on my list. What's that?
Okay, post playing career, like after they won their 4th Super Bowl, Bradshaw's been the most visible. Franco's probably second still, right? As far as out there in the public, out there representing the Steelers, you never see Joe Green around, really. You never see Lambert for sure. You never see Ham.
Okay, so Green has been a part of the team. He even was part of the front office. He was defensive line coach for some time.
Yeah.
Bradshaw's been the least visible in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, yes, but nationally, though, yes.
Nationally, he's Bradshaw. He's doing his thing, and over a slow amount of time, he has inched his way back into that family again.
Right.
You remember he had Vern Lundquist introduce him in the Hall of Fame. He didn't pick Knoll or Rooney or.
That's a mistake. Yeah.
I know, but there was some bad blood. There's a lot of animosity there. But over the last 10, 20 years, he's slowly crept back. I honestly, like, if they were going to do something at halftime with Franco, being that it was a night game, and Fox wouldn't have any studio time anymore. I was kind of hoping that that Bradshaw would have come back for something.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. Like Lambert is almost invisible. Ham, he has been there occasionally to commemorate like anniversary Super Bowl teams. But that's about it. Ham's come back. Blyer's back often. Swan and Stallworth are always there. Blunt's always around. So yes, that probably has a lot to do with it because Franco has been an ambassador for the Steelers since he retired. And so that's part of it, right? You don't see the Cubs aren't honoring Sammy Sosa anytime soon, even though he, did amazing things while he was there. But but there's a cloud there, so there was never been a cloud with Franco and the Steelers. So to that end, yes, it's 100% deserved. And I won't be there, and I can't sell my fucking tickets.
Right, you can't get rid of them. No luck still, huh? Well, dude, it's
like going to be sub-zero wind chill.
It's going to be brutal cold. Yeah, you won't be able to sell them.
And they're 6 and 8. If they were 8 and 6, and it was going to be 10 degrees or 20 degrees, they've been gone 2 months ago.
Sure.
But no bueno.
Yeah.
On that and Franco, but first Franco, then my problem.
Right, first Franco, right. Yep, it's it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm going to watch though for sure on Saturday night. I want to watch and see how the ceremony goes, how much they show on the NFL Network. That's the game on Saturday night. They're the ones covering it. So curious to see how many former players are there and how they handle all this now with Franco passing away. But still a great honor. I wonder if other teams, Adam, and quickly I know, but like I wonder if other teams though will, if when something like this happens, if that accelerates how long they wait before honoring former players or administrators or coaches, because obviously this is a year ago. It's a huge thing. They wait till the 50th anniversary. They wait until it's Christmas when the Raiders and Steelers close to that, the date of the game back in 72. And I don't want to say it backfires, but still, like, it would have been great if this could have been done when Franco was still alive. Not that they could have forecasted this, but I wonder, though, now if other teams in other sports will not delay things just to wait for an anniversary.
Well, I hope not, because then you're going to have like a situation where and I don't want that to oversaturate it. Like, I don't want to see like the Rams honoring Ricky Prohl for that 1 year he was on the Super Bowl team.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. But if you're going to honor Marshall Faulk, let's honor him now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and the Steelers' legacy is not getting any younger, so they might want to speed the process up a little bit.
Let's go. We're going to 3 this year. Let's go. Green, white, whatever. Yeah, let's do it all. So, all right. He's Adam Kahn at AJ Kahn 95. I am at That Happens, and this is it for the Franco Harris kind of tribute podcast we decided to do. And we'll hit you up here shortly with the Raiders and the Steelers preview of that game coming up this weekend. We'll do that next right here. We are Fan Stream Sports, DSP Media Online. Thanks for tuning in.